Welcome, welcome, welcome. And you are listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7. I am your happy host, Vasavi Kumar. You know, I told you guys I turned 30 on May 18th, and for my 30th birthday, I took a trapeze class at Learning to Fly in Mission, Kansas. It was like I was in the Cirque du Soleil, and it was awesome. But what I noticed was that I kept psyching myself out. I've always known how huge of a role the mind plays on my performance, but it was so clear that the mind plays just as big of a role on your physical performance. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to keep going at it, do those upside down somersaults. And I want to go and just keep climbing that rope and do what I got to do. And that's what it's all about. Practice and perseverance. And if you're ready to think big, like think bigger than you've ever thought about your capacity to really make a difference with yourself and the rest of humanity, then you need to pre-register for my Source of Your Success coaching program. So go to sourceofyoursuccess.com. And I'm also doing a free teleseminar on June 6th. I'm going to be sharing the 3 magic words that you need to know in order to keep moving past your fears. So my intention when I started the Source of Your Success coaching program, I wanted to put into this program everything that I wish that I had had when I first started my business: accountability, community, like-mindedness, and positive energy, so that I could keep moving. And the program starts June 20th. It's a 3-month coaching program, and I'm going to give you work to do. The Source of Your Success is grounded in unchanging truths. It's about getting connected with yourself, owning who you are, understanding your purpose, realizing your vision, and being a conscious creator. So that's the action piece right there, the conscious creation. And lastly, really being responsible for the energy that you allow in and that you're putting out there. So there's going to be offline homework for you and actions that you're going to be taking. And then as a group, we're always going to get back together and talk about what worked, what didn't work, your wins, and also what support you need. So I want to keep this small and intimate. So there are 20 spots open and 5 have already filled up. So go to sourceofyoursuccess.com. Last week, we spoke to Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of The 4 Agreements, and we went over the 4 simple agreements that you need to make with yourself. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't make assumptions. Number 3, which is my favorite, is don't take things personally because it's never about you. And number 4, always do your best. And I'm so excited because today I'm going to be talking to a friend of mine who lives right here in Kansas City, and she's actually sitting here with me in the studio. She's simply fabulous. Teresa Stohs is the executive director of the Arts and Recreation Foundation of Overland Park. Every year they have an amazing event called STEMS, and it's to raise money for the Arts and Recreation Foundation. It's on June 23rd, and you can get tickets at stemssoiree.org. That's STEMSSOIREE.org. It's a lot of fun, beautiful gardens, wine, socializing, and great food, of course. So, you know, I wanted Teresa to be on the show because I've gotten to know her over the past year since I've been here in Kansas City. And every time I speak with her, I learn more about how committed she is to having a fabulous life, how committed she is to being truly happy from the inside out, how committed she is to living a life of abundance and possibility in spite of her quote-unquote circumstances. We all have things that throw us off track. But what I love about Teresa is that she chooses not to let those things get her off track. And that's really what our show is all about today, keeping it moving. Today, we're going to be talking to Teresa about how she went from getting a divorce to writing a book. And her book is called Don't Give In, Up or Out. And it's a women's planner for divorce. And you can get that on www.savvy, S-A-V-V-Y, sisters.net. She wrote that with her younger sister. You know, so how she went from getting a divorce to writing this amazing book for women to becoming the executive director of the Arts and Recreation Foundation of Overland Park to most recently being named one of the 2012 Kansas City Influential Women. She got that award recently, and being featured in the Kansas City Magazine this month. Her story, her message is transformational, so you don't want to go anywhere. You're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO, Talk Radio 710, and now 103.7 FM.
Ready to talk? We are KCMO Talk Radio 710, and now 103.7 FM.
It's time to move toward a different kind of communications company. We're CenturyLink, and we're committed to help with reliable technology, personal service, and 24/7 tech support for your home and 24/7 network reliability monitoring for your business. And we'll continue to free you from hassles with real choice and flexibility and a price lock guarantee. Focus on what matters to you and get the most from your technology. Find out more about our honest and fair communication solutions at CenturyLink.com. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Don't mind me. I'll just sit here quietly while you drive. Hey, so how many miles you got on this baby? Kind of a lot, huh? I'll be quiet. You know what doesn't have six-figure mileage on it? Every Honda certified used car. Yep, each is a well-maintained late model Honda. Each gets a grueling 150-point inspection, too. And I'll stop talking. Hey, this is where I get out anyway. So yeah, Honda certified used cars. Next best thing to new. Just saying.
Suburban Lawn and Garden, growing with you.
Start something beautiful at Suburban Lawn and Garden, where you can choose from acres of beautiful trees, evergreens, and flowering shrubs, most grown on our own local farms and all ready to thrive in your yard. You'll enjoy strolling the paved pathways at our row location or driving a golf cart through our 135th and Warnell Nursery and our newest nursery just off K7 Highway in Lenexa. Choose a beautiful pink or white flowering crab tree. These new and improved varieties have fragrant blossoms in spring and tiny red long-lasting berries in fall. For a limited time, selected crab trees and lots of other flowering trees are sale priced. Sale trees still carry Suburban's 2-year guarantee, and delivery and planting are available. Start something beautiful today at Suburban Lawn and Garden, 105th and Row, or choose larger trees at 135th and Warnell, or our newest nursery in Lenexa at K7 and Prairie Star Parkway.
Suburban Lawn and Garden, growing with you.
When it comes to assisted living, are you going to trust your mom or dad to a giant corporation? Of course not. Hi, this is Frank Curtis. Shawnee Heartland is the boutique community of choice. A community with heart. Privately owned and operated since 2000. Log on to ShawneeHeartlandAL.com. Shawnee Heartland Assisted Living. We're not a giant corporation. We're family.
Who are you? What makes you tick? What makes your heart race? I want to know. You see, my purpose is to support you on your journey. My name is Vasavi Kumar, and I specialize in transformational coaching and speaking. Let's set up your 60-minute coaching session today. Call me at 913-951-1764. That's 913-951-1764.
Hey folks, Dave Ramsey here. Mr. Remodeler is one of Kansas City's oldest and most trusted remodeling and repair companies. So when it comes to remodeling that bathroom, there's no better choice than Mr. Remodeler. They serve a variety of clientele and understand that everyone has different needs and expectations. This includes a wide range of product options, styles, and colors. The Mr. Remodeler team also understands the importance of having a plan for your money and will take the time to find the most economical way to get you the bathroom you want. This could mean their experienced craftsman does the more difficult tasks and you do the paint and wallpaper. Another option would be to maintain the same layout and merely swap the old bathroom fixtures for new and updated ones. So, to discover even more possibilities, call Mr. Remodeler today. In Missouri, call 453-3049. In Kansas, 362-7166 or online at MrRemodeler.com.
When you're ready to get it right, get KCMO Talk Radio 710 now at 103.7 FM.
You guys, you need to have a producer like my Tom because he plays Tupac for me when I request it. Thank you, Tom. You're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7. And I just want to get into talking to my beautiful guest, Teresa. She's sitting here with me in the studio. And as always, she looks great. But besides the fact that she looks great, you know, she's wearing beautiful red glasses and a red belt. And I was just telling her, you know, you have to be fabulous because you're wearing red glasses. She is a total powerhouse. Just to share just a little bit about her story, and I'm gonna let Teresa get deeper into that. Teresa got divorced in 1995 after a 13-year marriage. And approximately 5 years after her divorce, she found herself tied up in an unexpected custody fight, which obviously can never end in anything good. And that's when she realized the importance of the initial divorce agreement. And she had given in, up and out during her divorce process, hoping to, avoid further conflict, and it backfired. So it really is no surprise that the name of her book, which she co-authored with her sister, is titled Don't Give In, Up or Out, A Woman's Planner for Divorce, which you can get on her website, www.savvy, with two V's, sisters.net. She's currently the executive director of the Arts and Recreation Foundation of Overland Park, and most recently won the 2012 Kansas City Influential Women Award, which is a huge deal here in Kansas City. And I am so honored to have her here. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being here on a long weekend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, I asked you to be on the show because when I think of you, I think of influence. I think of playing big in your life. I think of, people who are taking personal responsibility for how their life goes. And like I said, we're talking about influence today. You've just received this huge award, the 2012 Kansas City Influential Women Award. I want to start off by just asking you, what's your definition of being influential?
I think for me, being influential really means doing something, making something happen, making something big happen, and having people who are willing to help you along the way. And I really see that as one of my major definitions of being influential, and a lot of the reason that I won the award.
So, I keep telling our listeners how fabulous you are, because you are. And I want to ask you, you've had this journey, you've had an up and down journey, and you're here now looking awesome, being awesome, just doing amazing things in the community. I just want to ask you, what is it like to be you?
Well, today I would tell you it's great to be me. I do. I've had a really great life. The career path I've chosen in nonprofit work has allowed me to touch the city in ways that most people will never know, and I'm okay with that. But I've really had an opportunity to impact a lot of people's lives in Kansas City, and look forward to continuing to do that. So it's great to be me.
So, before we started the show, you and I got to talk even more about what it was like being you back in the day. So if you were to answer the same question, hey, Teresa, what's it like to be you? If you were to answer that question 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what would you be telling me?
I would tell you it was so hard to be me. It was so hard. It seemed so hard.
Yeah.
It seemed insurmountable at the time.
What was it like growing up for you?
Well, growing up, I grew up in a little small town and down around the Lake of the Ozarks, and at the time, my mother's highest dream for me was to be a secretary, and she worked in the shoe factory there, and that was her highest vision for me, and that was her goal for me, was to be a secretary. And actually, I did. When I got out of high school, I didn't go straight to college. I went to be a secretary, and after a while, I thought, this isn't the life I choose for myself, and so I went back to school and took out student loans and worked 2 jobs and got through.
That's interesting, though, right? Because I think oftentimes we look at where we are now and we blame our past, or we blame our parents and our circumstances. But, given that your mom's highest hope for you, and may she rest in peace, but given that her highest vision for you was to be a secretary, and now you're an executive director, one has to think, and I want to ask you, how did you get from that, which is thinking that all you'd ever be, or being told that all you'll ever be is a secretary, to being an executive director? How did that happen?
A school of hard knocks. I think that's really how that happened. And that I had a bigger vision for myself, and it's changed a lot over the way. When I look forward through my career, it's like I went here, then I went there, and I did this, and I did that, and it seemed all disconnected. And when I look back over my life, it almost looks like a straight path.
It was just the way it should have been.
I think so. And I want to say that being a secretary is a quite honorable thing to be, and we depend on people to do that. It's just that you also need to have some people who want to do more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say was your lowest point?
Well, I would say, when talking about the last 15, 20 years, it was after my divorce, and I got into what's typically known as a rebound relationship, and that was disastrous and very damaging to me financially. And I had an event I had to go to for work, and I wanted to get a new outfit. and I couldn't afford a new outfit. And so I'm standing in CVS looking at eyeshadow. I've decided, okay, a new color of eyeshadow, that would kind of spruce things up. And I'm looking at this eyeshadow. It was $6. And I'm trying to decide, how can I spend $6 on this eyeshadow? And that was the point where I said, this will never happen to me again.
You know, that sounds like the turning point for you, where you made up your mind. And you know what? I'm sure you still looked fabulous with the $6 eyeshadow. I'm sure you did. Maybe you didn't get a new dress, but you got the eyeshadow, and I'm sure you looked great. But that sounds like at that moment when you realized that you were kind of in this financial bind, and that all you could afford that would be financially responsible on your part was to spend $6 on eyeshadow. But you made up your mind at that moment. What did you make up in that moment? Like, what did you say would never happen again to you?
That I will never be in this financial position again, and that I will never feel so kind of cut off from the world, because I felt like, oh my gosh, I brought all this on myself, and here I am in this terrible mess, and I have a son, and I'm raising my son, and I don't want this to be his model, and so I really said, okay. And that's when I made some changes in my jobs. I started on a career path where I was able to earn more money, and I made several job changes over the years, which used to be kind of an anomaly. Today it's much more standard operation, but it used to be people always thought, oh, you can't keep a job very long. And it was like, okay, but every job I got, I made more money, it taught me something new, something different. And that's really how I just kind of worked my way up.
So, guys, I want you to hear this, because the phrase that keeps popping up into my mind when I'm listening to Teresa right now is she turned her fear into fuel. Okay, so her worst fear had come true. She was in this financial bind. She felt cut off. She had $6 to spend on an eyeshadow, and that was about it. Not to be dramatic. I'm being dramatic on purpose, but that was really the reality of the situation, was that that's all you could afford. But the lesson that I really am getting, and I'm hoping you guys are getting, is that she didn't let that stay where she was. She turned that fear, she turned that experience into, okay, I need to get out of this. And so I'm assuming, which you've just said, that you turned that fear and you let that fuel every move. So you left your job, you found a new job, you made some major changes in your life. To all our listeners out there, just if you can think of this, who are facing experiences where they know that something has to change. Like, we all have those moments. I have those moments. Our listeners have those moments, when we're like, oh, this has to change. I can't deal with this anymore. What's your advice for them? How do they get out of that?
I think it's one step at a time. And I think part of what keeps us feeling so overwhelmed is that where we are and where we want to be, there's such a huge chasm between the two. And what you do is you do it incrementally. You do one step. You do one positive thing and you celebrate that. And then you do another positive thing. And as you're doing those positive things, there's going to be some things that you backslide a little bit on, and you have to give yourself forgiveness and move on from that.
So, guys, you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and now 103.7 FM. And I'm here with my beautiful guest, Teresa Stohs. I want to go back to what you said. If you look at where you are now to where you want to be, there's a huge gap.
Yeah, there is.
I love what you're saying about just taking one step at a time. But you said something before the show started. Someone had asked you, how is your day going? And you said you were fabulous,
Yes.
And this person was like, well, how's that possible? Why are you fabulous? And what did you say? I want you to share with the listeners what you said about having a fabulous day.
Well, I always kind of joke when people say that to me, is that because I use that phrase frequently and I feel it's true. But I say, someone has got to be fabulous, and I decided it's going to be me.
I love that. So it's a choice.
It is a choice.
It's a choice what you want to do with your fear. It's a choice what you want to do with your circumstances. And if you couple that with taking one step at a time, guys, can you hear this? This is everything that we talk about on Deep Talk, is the mindset and the strategy, right? So Teresa was saying, you got to make up your mind. You have to say, if someone's going to be fabulous, it has to be me. Just look at that type of positive mindset along with taking the one step at a time, whether it's leaving your job, whether it's leaving that relationship, whether it's getting on that treadmill, whether it's, rekindling with a lost friendship, whatever it is, it's going to take you have to make up your mind first. And I always think that that's the hardest step.
It is. But once you do it, it gets easier every day. And people who know me are always talking about how positive I am. And I get teased a lot sometimes in work situations that I'm Pollyanna and all that. But it's like I tell my boards, I'm a verb, not a noun. And I'm in action. So let's go.
So guys, if you have to hear this, come on. So you got to be willing to do a Teresa, which means just keeping it moving. Just no matter what gets in your way, just do a Teresa and keep it moving. Make up your mind and hire a coach. Get a friend to get some accountability, but you don't have to do it alone. And I'm assuming that you've always had a lot of support to help you.
I really have, and my sister Karen Elderhurst and I are so incredibly close, and she helped co-author the book with me, and we are very strong supporters of each other. And I think having that person who can be that person for you. I've had several other close friends along the way. Having that group, the saying, get yourself some girlfriends. It is so true. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You need friends and you need some kind of a support group. In our book, we talk about an A-team. You need that.
Yeah, you guys, and if you want to check out her book, for those of you who are maybe going through a divorce, need some guidance, you can get her book, Don't Give In, Up or Out, A Woman's Planner for Divorce, on her website, SavvySisters.net. So, Teresa, I've heard that divorce is the hardest thing that someone, that you have to go through, other than losing a child. I mean, it's comparable. And in fact, I've heard, it is one of the most difficult things you can go through. So what kept you strong throughout that part of your life?
Well, I think it was still the belief that there was something more in life for me. And my sister, as I said, was very encouraging to me, and that there was something more. And I didn't want this to be it. I didn't want this to be all there was, that this was my life was going to just kind of like stop right here. And so in moving on and moving forward, and I see possibility. I always see possibility.
I love that. So you always see possibility, and everything that I'm hearing from what you're saying, it all started with you just making up your mind, you choosing to believe. So guys, belief is not just something that falls from the sky. You actually have to make up your mind. Like, okay, yes, things may seem kind of crappy right now, but I'm going to choose to believe that there's something more for me. And if this is resonating with you and you know that you need to work on your mindset, you know that that's the one thing stopping you, then go to sourceofyoursuccess.com. Pre-register for My Source of Your Success coaching program. We start June 20th. There's also a free teleseminar, which I'm going to tell you the 3 magic words that you need to know. It's the true secret for you to keep moving past your fears. And that free teleseminar is June 6th. But you can get all the information at sourceofyoursuccess.com. So, Teresa, you are and a very influential woman in Kansas City. And you have such a zest for life. I love the word zest. I think of like lemon and lime, and it's just so citrusy and it just has a pop to it. How do you keep your zest?
I was very blessed all my life with high energy. And so I've always, had that going for me. But I really believe I've decided I'm going to have a great life.
You just decided that you're going to have a great life. Well, just hold that thought, because I want to talk more about that. And guys, you can just keep waiting, because we're going to be back soon, okay? You're listening to... Okay. And if you want to learn more about the Source of Your Success website, give me a call. I actually want to hear your questions and talk to you if a lot of the stuff, is kind of resonating with you. So give me a call at 913-951-1764. Email me at vasavi@vasavikumar.com. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710.
Get out of the routine and start your day with the KCMO Morning Show.
And we're bringing back in Judge Andrew Napolitano.
On its own, under the guise of keeping us safe, violates the Fourth Amendment by letting people rummage through our computer records, our medical records, without search warrants. Then it violates our right to privacy. President Obama has now done it to a greater and broader extent than George Bush ever did.
Greg Knapp, mornings 5 to 9 on KCMO Talk Radio 710, now on FM and 103.9.
Fox News Radio, I'm Liz White. Campers on a barrier island off Georgia told to leave within hours with a beefed-up barrel headed their way.
Hurricane hunters were investigating and found that the maximum winds were a little stronger than we anticipated or expected. Maximum winds are now near 60 miles per hour with some higher gusts.
John Cangialassi at the National Hurricane Center. The subtropical storm expected to drench parts of Florida up to the Carolinas. Syria's president denying government troops were behind an attack on a string of villages in central Syria.
UN observers say 32 of the dead were children under the age of 10. Opposition groups say Syrian government forces targeted civilians and intentionally violated the UN-backed ceasefire.
Fox's Connor Powell, top NATO official, says there's no evidence of civilian casualties amid a report that a coalition strike killed 8 civilians in eastern Afghanistan. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Your KCMO forecast from KCTV5.
Skies will stay mostly sunny, with any rain chances staying well to our west and northwest today. It's going to feel like early summer once again, with hot and humid conditions. Afternoon high temperatures climb near 90 degrees, but it's going to feel more like it's in the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. Gusty winds will help cool us a bit. They'll be out of the southwest between 15 and 25 miles per hour. I'm KCTV5 meteorologist Iris Hermosillo.
It's time to move toward a different kind of communications company. We're CenturyLink, and we're committed to help with reliable technology, personal service, and 24/7 tech support for your home and 24/7 network reliability monitoring for your business. And we'll continue to free you from hassles with real choice and flexibility and a price lock guarantee. Focus on what matters to you and get the most from your technology. Find out more about our honest and fair communication solutions at CenturyLink.com. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Don't mind me. I'll just sit here quietly while you drive. Hey, so how many miles you got on this baby? Kind of a lot, huh? I'll be quiet. You know it doesn't have 6-figure mileage on it? Every Honda certified used car. Yep, each is a well-maintained late model Honda. Each gets a grueling 150-point inspection, too. And I'll stop talking. Hey, this is where I get out anyway. So yeah, Honda certified used cars. Next best thing to new. Just saying.
I knew that a sauna would be relaxing after a long, hard day, but when I started researching saunas, I was surprised. I never knew a sauna from saunasforbetterhealth.com could be so good for me. Go to saunasforbetterhealth.com and see for yourself. Their made-in-USA saunas harness the medical powers of far-infrared waves for remarkable health benefits. It helps remove toxins and actually speeds healing. The only problem at my house? It's a race to see who can get into the sauna first. Start your road to a healthier lifestyle now. saunasforbetterhealth.com.
When it comes to assisted living, are you going to trust your mom or dad to a giant corporation? Of course not. Hi, this is Frank Curtis. Shawnee Heartland is the boutique community of choice. A community with heart. Privately owned and operated since 2000. Log on to ShawneeHeartlandAL.com. Shawnee Heartland Assisted Living. We're not a giant corporation. We're family.
Hey, there he is. Come on up here and sit down on the porch with me.
I love staying here. How long have you lived here?
A long time. You know, your mother grew up here.
I'm gonna have a house like this when I grow up.
I hope so, buddy. I hope so.
For the first time in generations, the dream of home ownership is being threatened. Realtors, members of the National Association of Realtors, are here to represent you and protect home ownership. Visit houselogic.com/home ownership to learn more.
When you listen to other talk stations, you start believing the bias. When you start to believe the bias, you find yourself hanging out in drum circles. Don't occupy public places with your new hippie friends. Listen to KCMO Talk Radio 710. And now 103.7 FM.
Today's deal, your 3-night getaway to Laguna Suites in Cancun. Just $299. Go to sweetjack.com for your trip for 2 to Laguna Suites.
Sweet Jack. Now that's a real sweet deal.
Sweetjack.com.
KCMO Talk Radio 710 and now 103.7 FM. News never stops. That's why we've got you covered 24/7 with Fox News Radio on KCMO.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
We're back, and you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7 FM. I'm Vasavi, and we We're just talking to Teresa Stohs, Executive Director of the Arts and Recreation Foundation of Overland Park and the author of Don't Give In, Up or Out, A Woman's Planner for Divorce, which you can get at her website, www.savisisters.net. And before the break, we were talking about how Teresa is considered, and she is such an influential woman in Kansas City. And why I'm drawn to her is she just has amazing energy. She has positive energy, just lifts you up. She's such a zest for life. And so before the break, I just want to wrap up this question. You know, Teresa, I was asking you, how do you keep your aliveness? How do you keep your zest for life?
I think I have an insatiable desire to learn. And so I do lots of things. I go to lots of meetings. I read a lot. I do a lot of self-improvement, what people would call, self-improvement. And that keeps my mind alive. I surround myself by amazing people. I've got a partner now, John, and he's so great to me and helps me so much. And I have wonderful volunteers and donors that have followed me from job to job and from project to project, and they are truly lift me up. And so by surrounding myself with all these great positive people, it really does help me stay on course when every now and then I derail, and I will honestly say that is the truth. Mm-hmm. But I have ability then to put myself back on track.
It's no surprise that your volunteers and your donors follow you from project to project because they're attracted to the energy that you put out there, right? So, guys, it really is the law of attraction. What you put out there, you get right back and tenfold, So I want to talk about playing a big game versus playing a small game. Part of another reason why I was so drawn to you, Teresa, to have you on the show is because you aren't scared to be big. And when I say be big, I'm not even talking about like being, financially making tons and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about your energy being big and just not being afraid of being you and being big and being fabulous and just shining, which I think, and I've struggled with this as a woman, just allowing yourself to shine from the inside out. Not necessarily based on any, status or awards or accomplishments, but really allowing yourself to shine from the inside out. I think a lot of times women struggle with this because they don't want to make other people feel insecure or jealous or less than. So that's why I love you, is because you allow yourself to shine, which is our natural state of being. The way God made us is to shine big. But because of life, we dim down, we shut off our light, we play a small game. So I want to ask you, for you, what does it mean to play big in your life?
I think it means playing without fear. I'm told all the time I'm a risk taker, and I haven't really considered myself that until just recently, and I understand that. Well, first of all, let's just be honest. I don't like the word no. And anyone out there listening to me now knows that I don't like no, and I don't take no real well. And so no is like, oh, well, then let's make sure it's a yes. And how can I make it a yes if that's a no?
Can I just tell you I don't know where I heard this, but I put this, I don't know where I heard it, but it said, if you hear no from someone, then you must be talking to the wrong person. Because no one tells me no. No, I always get yes. So keep going. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what you have to do. And you have to go, Dan Bradbury, when I worked at the Kansas City Public Library, once told me when you're doing something new and big and different, in the middle, it always looks like a failure. Mm. And that has been so impactful to me in my life. And he's so right, because so many times you're trying to pull something off and it's like people aren't sure you can do it. They don't think you can do it. And it's not looking like you're doing it. And then a lot of people quit there. Mm. And that's when I just kick into high gear and push forward. And I have great people around me who help me do that. I never do anything by myself.
So playing big for you is not just, dreaming big, but thinking big, but it's also doing big and knowing that you're always going to have those breakdowns. Lisa, yes. I think I've told you about Lisa Nichols, my mentor. Mm-hmm. She always says, when you're playing a big game, you're going to have big breakdowns. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have a big breakthrough because think about it, right? The bigger the game, like if you're shooting for the stars, you're absolutely gonna, you are going to have hiccups along the way. But when you play a small game, things are just kind of moseying along, and you don't really have to deal with those failures because everything is comfortable and it's quite predictable. So where do you think in your life you have played the biggest?
I would say definitely in my current job. When we first started STEMS, I mean, people didn't know about the foundation, and I said I wanted to get 1,000 people out at the Arboretum, and I talked to hundreds of people, and they all told me, you can't do that. And we sold 1,103 tickets our first year. And so this year we're expecting somewhere around 1,800 people to come out, and we're really excited about that. So in my current job, I would definitely say I've played big. And I think it's giving yourself the freedom to see the really, really big picture and not getting drugged down by the people who are stuck in the myopic vision, because they want to take you down to their level, to their view, their view level. And it's trying to not get sucked into that and keeping your big view.
I just got really excited by what you said. You said when you first started at the Arts and Recreation Foundation that people said there was no way you could get 1,000 people. Yes. And I know for me, and I'm assuming this is the same for you, when someone tells me I can't do something, it's more of my fuel. Yeah. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll show you.
Well, I'm always stand back and watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's
what
great.
I say.
Yeah.
Stand back and watch.
So I love that. So you know, guys, I want you to hear this. If there's something that you want to do, if there's that business that you want to start, and the reason why I always bring up businesses because I work primarily with women entrepreneurs, and the number one obstacle that most of my clients who are women entrepreneurs they face, they say, my family thinks I'm crazy if I leave my job. I said, of course they're going to think you're crazy because they've never done it. Of course they're scared for you because they're scared to do it. So, I mean, just a slight shift in the mindset, like, you know what, stand back and watch. I'll do it. I think that's brilliantly said. So you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7. And we're talking to Teresa about playing big versus playing small, about influence. And Teresa, what do you think keeps most people playing a small game in their life?
Well, sometimes it feels safer. Sometimes it's more comfortable. Many times it's because they've never given themselves permission to think bigger. And once again, they go from, there's that A to Z, and they don't see all the letters and the miniature steps in between, and so that keeps us like, oh, I could never do that. I'm afraid I'll fall, I'll fail, you know. And so when that happens, they stay small because that's comfortable, and then they try to get you to stay small with them, and that's one of the things that, you know, people do surround themselves by like-kind people.
You know, I don't know if you've heard of George Fraser, but he said he's like the master of networking. And he says the number one rule for success is to surround yourself with positive people.
Definitely.
To surround yourself with successful people and not just monetarily. Actually, he's not talking about financially. And I remember when I first moved to Kansas City, I was drawn to people like you and people like Sheridan.
Yes.
And I had people tell me like, oh, you know, it's so ironic that you have been attracted to the, you know, or I've had people say like, oh, isn't it funny that you're now associating yourself with those women? I said, well, I'm just drawn to them. You know, it was nothing strategic. It was like, I'm drawn to your energy. I'm drawn to your fabulousness. I'm drawn to the positivity and your bigness, you know, because like attracts like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it sounds like for you, I mean, in your close circle, do you have people that bring you down?
I do. I work with a lot of volunteers, and some volunteers aren't as positive in nature as I am, and I'm very susceptible to that. And so the only way I can survive is I have to physically separate myself from that, because I just can't play in that for very long, because it just makes me it kind of then trips my trigger of my own self-doubt, and well, maybe I'm not right, or maybe I'm not doing the right thing, or maybe I am wrong, or, you know, just the whole thing, all that self-doubt. And so I really try to separate myself from those negative people as much as possible.
I think that's key. And on Deep Talk, we spend a lot of time talking about who you associate with.
Yes.
And sometimes even family. You got to just, you know, keep them at an arm's length. Like, I love you, but, you know, I'm going to keep you over here. Okay, because you just said something, and it triggered something in me when you said, you know, when you're around people who are negative, they then trigger that self-doubt in you.
Yes.
So associating yourself with successful, like-minded people is just like a drug. Like, it just keeps you going. It keeps you on that high, which I mean, it's clear that has kept you moving the way you move.
It has. You know, one of the good things about me and one of the bad things about me, my board president would agree with this, is I'm very emotional. And it's kind of the good news is the bad news. And I think that's the way a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Your strength also has some downsides to it.
Yeah.
And so trying to minimize the downside of it. I love the way management is today. When I started my career, you figured out what your weaknesses were and you put all your energy and effort trying to bring up your weaknesses. Today's management theory is a lot different than that. It's like find out what your strengths are and explode them. And so that's what I really try to do. And that's what I try to do with my volunteers and people around me.
That's so good because I think oftentimes we try to work on the weak part of us, and instead of doing that, let's just hone in on what we're good at and just explode that out of the water. You know,
exactly.
So, was there ever a point where you felt small?
Oh, yes. I'm supposed to tell. Darn! I'm just going to agree.
Sorry, we're on the radio.
yeah. I really think after my divorce, I really felt like I'd failed, and I'd wanted a happy, stable home life for my son, and I wasn't able to do that, and I didn't have a lot of financial wherewithal, and I felt I was really sad and very sad, and so, but I finally was able to kind of turn that around. And when my sister and I wrote the book, we wrote it because of all the things that we wished. How we started writing it was, she was going back to court, and we were making a list of things that she needed to tell her attorney, and we started saying, oh, I wish I'd known that when I got a divorce, and I wish I'd known that when I got a divorce. And so that's how the book all came about. And so that then became empowering. So all the things that brought me down during that process, I was able then to turn and build them back up in the book.
You know, okay, so I'm just envisioning this because I'm a very visual person. So you felt small, and then in that moment, you know, or for an extended period of time after your divorce, and what you then did was turn your wound into wisdom for something bigger than yourself. You know, you took all the pain that you had and you turned it into a book so that you could help other women. How great is that? Instead of operating in that wound, taking that, finding the wisdom, and then putting it in the form of a book, like, hey, this is what I wish I knew. You know, and I want to offer this to other women.
Well, and my sister and I both had those conversations. And I was able to do the book because I did a lot of the writing and she did a lot of the research and all those forms. And, oh, I hate forms. And she created all those forms for the book. And so together we were very powerful.
So, Teresa, to all of our listeners out there who are going through a transition in their life and are looking to get through the day and ultimately to the next level of peace and happiness in their life, what do you want to say to them?
One step at a time. Find that one thing that you can achieve, however small it is. It could be cleaning out a drawer and your house is a mess. Find that one thing that you can do that, celebrate that, and then get ready to do the next thing. And it's all in your mind.
It's all in your mind. So thank you so much for Teresa.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for coming here. Memorial Day weekend on a Sunday. I know you have awesome things that, you need to be doing, but you spent your 1 hour here with me today on the show. Guys, we're going to go to a break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7.
KCMO Talk Radio 710 and at 103.7 FM, the new home of the Mike Huckabee Show.
By the way, I got to tell you a little Kansas City connection. My son-in-law is from Kansas City, and he and my daughter are any day going to present me with my second grandchild and my first granddaughter. So I got a very special interest in Kansas City as a result of that. And the Kansas side of it, by the way.
Mike Huckabee, weekdays 11 till 2 on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and now 103.7 FM.
By August of next year, your medical billing and coding methods become critical to the financial success of your practice. That's when American converts to ICD-10, and your coders must be certified in over 140,000 new codes. Certification is time-consuming and costly, and you risk an increase in claim denials. Purpose Billing Services is your billing and coding solution. Their staff is certified and experienced. Contact them for a free quote today, 913-707-8710, or visit them on the web at purposebilling.com. You fix your patients' aches and pains, and they fix yours.
When it comes to assisted living, are you going to trust your mom or dad to a giant corporation? Of course not. Hi, this is Frank Curtis. Shawnee Heartland is the boutique community of choice. A community with heart. Privately owned and operated since 2000. Log on to ShawneeHeartlandAL.com. Shawnee Heartland Assisted Living. We're not a giant corporation. We're family.
Who are you? What makes you tick? What makes your heart race? I want to know. You see, my purpose is to support you on your journey. My name is Vasavi Kumar, and I specialize in transformational coaching and speaking. Let's set up your 60-minute coaching session today. Call me at 913-951-1764. That's 913-951-1764.
Suburban lawn and garden, growing with you.
Spring, the perfect time for planting, and the perfect time to add vibrant color to your planting beds with fresh mulch from Suburban Lawn and Garden. Suburban's mulch is made right here in our own facility, where we can ensure the very highest quality. Landscape professionals choose Suburban's mulch because of its freshness, longer-lasting color, and value pricing. Plus, it discourages weeds and helps retain moisture. Suburban's mulch is available in convenient bags or in bulk. Choose from fragrant cedar, premium hardwood, Sedona red, Java brown, or Dakota black. Place your order online at kcmulch.com or just call. Be sure to ask about free delivery with a minimum order. Start spring today at Suburban Lawn and Garden, now with 3 locations, 105th and Rowe, 135th and Warnell, and our newest store in Lenexa, just off K7 at Prairie Star Parkway.
Suburban lawn and garden, growing with you.
It started with helping folks out with transportation around the holidays with Cars for Christmas. It's expanded to all year round with Cars for Heroes, honoring our men and women who've served in the military. If you have a car to donate or know of a vet in need of reliable transportation, go to cars4christmas.org and click on the Kansas City button. Let's help those who have given so much. Cars4christmas.org and click on the Kansas City button. It's Cars for Heroes.
Vasavi Kumar knows one thing for sure. She is no expert. Instead, she embodies and radiates acceptance, vulnerability, hope, and love, drawing from a lifetime of awareness and the primal understanding that at our very core, we crave connection and truth. Vasavi knows that by sharing her authentic self, she creates a safe place for others to not only discover, but speak their own truth. Knowing that the relationships we seek begin first within, Vasavi delivers presentations that not only uplift and inspire, but encourage each attendee to dig deep, cast away doubt, and claim the truly radiant self they've too often buried under layers of expectations, disappointments, and self-criticism. To learn more about how Vasavi can support you in getting you out of your own way, visit her at vasavikumar.com or give her a call at 913-951-1764 today. vasavikumar.com, 913-951-1764.
Greg Knapp.
Take the survey right now, kcmotalkradio.com. Do you agree with the Obama administration Department of Justice telling university they must let a man use the women's restroom? kcmotalkradio.com.
Hey guys, we're back and you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7 FM. So I just finished talking to Teresa, and she great. And for any of you out there who are going through a divorce and really just need to know the ins and outs, definitely get her book, Don't Give In, Up or Out, A Woman's Planner for Divorce. You could get it. You could also get it at Amazon, but check out her website so you can learn more about her and her sister at www.savvysisters.net. And I was telling you guys about the event on June 23rd, STEMS. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be there, so I'd love to see some of you there. If you decide to come, go to the website, stemsoiree.org, STEMSSOIREE.org. And today was just great talking to Teresa because she has a powerful message and story for really how to be influential in your life and with the people around you, which I think is huge. If you can uplift people around you, they will stay with you and support you. And really just how to play that bigger game and surmount small thinking. So next week, I'm going to be speaking to Arielle Ford. She's a leading pioneer and personality in the personal growth and spirituality movement. And for the past 25 years, she's been living, teaching, and promoting consciousness through all forms of media. And her career includes years as a prominent book publicist, an author, a literary agent, a TV lifestyle reporter, a television producer. She was a host on a Sirius radio show. She's a publishing consultant. And what I'm going to be talking to her about is relationships, because she's a relationship expert. And we're going to be talking to Ariel about her book, Wabi-Sabi Love. And I just finished reading the book. It is such a good book. And also, I meant to tell this to you guys. If any of you out there are thinking of writing a book, I think I read a statistic that like 82% of Americans want to write a book, and they never do. And Ariel is awesome because she has a great course for authors, and you can learn more about that at everythingyoushouldknow.com. She is the leader in helping authors become amazing and best-selling. So yeah, her book, Wabi-Sabi Love, it's the ancient art. Wabi-Sabi is the ancient art of finding perfect love in imperfect relationships. And I know that we could all use some more insight and practical advice on our own relationships. So I can't wait to have her on the show. And what she's most known for is really launching the careers of so many of the New York Times best-selling self-help authors, including Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Mark Victor Hansen, Neil Donald Walsh, author of Conversations with God, and he's going to be on the show on June 20th. Debbie Ford, who's Ariel Ford's sister, Wayne Dyer, and Don Miguel Ruiz, who was on the show last week. She's the author of 7 books, including Hot Chocolate for the Mystical Soul series, and I just can't wait to have her on the show. And like I said, if you've ever wanted to write a book, she's the woman to go to, and she has a great course. So go to our website, everythingyoushouldknow.com. I want to just talk a little bit more about my program, The Source of Your Success. I started this program because I was at a point in my life where I was really unhappy where I was. I was accomplishing a lot, but my mindset was not in line. So I was doing awesome things, but I wasn't truly happy. I wasn't truly fulfilled. And so I was out of alignment. And so I was brainstorming with my friend about really what was it that I needed in my life? And so we came up with The Source of Your Success. It's really about getting spiritually connected with yourself, owning your greatness, owning who you are, taking responsibility, understanding your purpose, realizing your vision. If I had to sum it up, it's really just about keeping it moving and making stuff happen in your life. We suffer because we have inner conflict. And we want to feel whole as human beings. But if you can remember that you were born whole, that your true self is already whole, that there's nothing broken about you at all. I don't care what your circumstances are. There's nothing broken about you and you're whole. That's really what The Source of Your Success is all about. It's about feeling whole. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to having you guys be with me next Sunday. We're going to be talking to Ariel Ford, the author of Wabi-Sabi Love. Give me a call if you just want to talk. It's 913-951-1764. Go to sourceofyoursuccess.com. If you want to sign up for the program, you want to sign up for the free teleseminar on June 6th. I look forward to having you. And remember, you can always call me. Okay, 913-951-1764. Until next time, you're listening to Deep Talk on KCMO, Talk Radio 710 and 103.7. And remember, be kind to yourself.